Hey everyone. We're going to start in just a couple minutes. If you want to join live, go to the link on that's posted to this page. If you want to come into the Zoom and you're able to communicate and everything. Put in the comments if you're here so I know it's you. And just to let you know, sometimes it's a little hard when I'm going to be the one actually training today. So it's hard for me to check the comment, Nadia. Sorry, I have a couple, one more minute. One of my party guests is finally messaging me back. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start. Hey everyone. Let me get into my, where am I at here so I can turn this off. Okay, today is October 12th. It's actually my nephew's, not that you care about that, just saying. Today's a great day because we have so much to look forward to, you guys. There's so much going on and so many exciting things happening with Scentsy. And we just closed a amazing month. I wasn't here last week. Thank you so much, Cindy Washam, for leading for me, and Karen Fabio for being our guest speaker. Some of you might know if you're on, hey Terry, hi Gladys, hi Nadia. If you're on Facebook with me, if you're my friend, you'll know that I was really sick for like 6 days in bed, and not COVID. I didn't even have the flu. I don't know what it was, but it knocked me on my rear. I was literally in bed for 6 days. So I didn't get to do numbers last week, but we had such an amazing September. It was literally across the board the best September that any of the companies had. Pretty much, if you've been in Scentsy over a year, it's the best year you've had. Sorry, I've just been really thirsty today. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up last month's just numbers, just so you guys can have an idea of what happened last month. And we're going to be talking about the laws of the harvest for your business. And I really want you guys to think about this because the number that you are a direct reflection of the law of the harvest and putting in work so you can reap it later. Okay, so I'm gonna get, since this is a group call, I'm gonna go ahead and just shout out the top 20 because a lot of people in our group for sales, and you're gonna hear a lot of numbers that are in your, if you're new or you haven't hit these, you're gonna feel like, oh my gosh, how is that possible? But when we talk about the law of harvest, hey, you're kind of have an idea of how that may work, okay? So, wow, I haven't been top sales in a long time. So myself was #1 last, pat on the back. I don't get anybody, so I'm gonna pat on my back for myself. I spent $5,000 last month. And that actually would have been higher, but I gave PRV to some of my new team members. So probably, so just right there, not to like, I'm not boasting, I'm showing that it's possible and that there's always room for more sales. I also sponsor people meaning I gave PR away, and the people that joined are people that I've been working with for a long time. So we're going to talk about the harvest, okay? So in second place was Brittany Levine, director from New Jersey, 3196. Amanda Bray, 3080. Karen Fabio, superstar consultant from Pennsylvania, 2744. Michelle Brooks, director from Nevada, 26. Catherine Payne, a lead consultant from Oregon, 2277. Jennifer Bendes, I'm sorry that I said your last name, probably horrible. A star consultant from New Jersey, 2073. Okay, has anybody noticed that there's actually a lot of different states in these months? Usually it's like all of Nevada or all of one other state. So way to go, guys, in all these other places. Cinnamon, her last name is Stanley, certified consultant 2022 from North Dakota. Antoinette Cahill, certified consultant 1918 from New Jersey. Let's see. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm totally giving numbers from this month, not last month. I'm so sorry. How did that happen? I pulled the report, and then when I sorted it, I guess it went back to October. That is embarrassing. Oh my gosh. All right, we're gonna start over. So maybe I wasn't top sales. Maybe that was wrong. I don't know. Yeah, I wasn't. I never get to be top sales, but I patted myself on the back still. Okay, let's start over again. And we're not gonna tell you where they're from because that takes more time. We're just gonna hit them over because we want to get started with this call. So top sales was Director Lauren Clift, 5595. Brittany Levine, 5422, myself, 5,000, Michelle Brooks, director, 4390, Antoinette, Cahill, 4113, Michelle Maldonado, 3756, Amanda Bray, 3572, Carly MacArthur. See, these are even better numbers. This makes more sense. 3141, Melissa Henning, 3042, Sandra Colley, 2980. Nicole Willis, 2804, Nadia Herrera, 2758, Karen Fabio, 2718, Cynthia Molding, 2703, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 18, Lisa Garcia, 2687, Angela Fessy, 2642, Tracy Gallagher, 2619, Sasha Shaw, 2538. And in 20th place, Laura Eder. Sorry, Laura, if that's totally wrong, 4113. And so many of you guys were well over your 2,000, 1,500, well over 500. Honestly, I love sharing these numbers because it shows that it's possible. It shows no matter where you're at, there is business out there for you. And it's all about setting goals and knowing that the work that you put in now is going to pay off, even if you're not seeing it. Let me just go ahead and let me make sure I'm in September still. Okay, who's sponsored? So I myself sponsored 4, Amanda Bray sponsored 3. She is getting we are getting the sales award for the month, because anybody that sells over 2,000 gets a sales award. And then when you sponsor 2 or more people and sell 2,000, you are achieving the 2-year, 5-year plan of making what doctors and lawyers make, if you are doing that consistently every month. So if you have any questions about that, we could talk about that at the end. Michelle Brooks sponsored 2, Michelle Maldonado sponsored 2, Brenda Mills sponsored 2, and everybody else sponsored 1. Dina Irwin, Victoria, Danielle, Christy Crockett, Trinice Cook, Jolene Gastelum, Krista Dyer, Maria Corsaro, Angela Fessy, Jennifer Bendas, Brittany Levine, and Rochelle Simler. So great job sharing the opportunity, you guys. This is the time that people are starting to stress about money because the holidays are around the corner, right? And that's when you start having to fork out big bucks when you know, out of nowhere, when you're not used to having to spend a couple $1,000 possibly with sales. I mean, excuse me, not with sales, for presents. So this is the time to share the opportunity so they can get started with their business. So they could be making that extra income. Hi, Nina. Okay, so Cindy and Nina on. Melissa, when you got on, what link did you use? Because you're on and everybody else is saying they can't get on. I can't hear you. I think what I did, I can't hear you, Melissa, but I think it's my fault. I think I'm on the wrong Zoom link, to be honest with you.
You're on the Zoom link that you're always on.
Am I?
Yeah.
Okay, let me just go ahead and click it. Oh, thank you. You're amazing. Okay. But it's okay. That is probably the different one that I do for the weekly calls. So I'm probably just going to have to stick to one link for all my trainings.
This is the powwow that it was posted on October 5th. This is the one that I used.
Okay. Okay, so the one I just posted, you guys, on Facebook, that's the one we're on. I apologize if the email was incorrect. So I apologize. So yeah, just go ahead on the Facebook, on our group page. If you're on there, there's a link right there. You can just go ahead and join in. Sorry about that, everyone. Okay, so we're gonna watch a movie. Not a movie. We're gonna watch a movie. No, we're gonna watch a quick video. Promise we're not watching a movie. We don't got that time. On the law of harvest. This guy was amazing. I found him. I was just looking up the law of a harvest. I read a couple people's, I watched a couple videos, and I really liked what this guy had to say and how he explained the law of harvest. And then we're gonna go from there. Hey everyone, welcome. So sorry for that mistake. I'm glad you guys are on. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. All right. I'm gonna open this up so we can watch together. All right, can you guys see like a blank white screen, and up at the top it says Law of the Harvest? Can you see? Thumbs up, yes? Yeah, okay. Hey, Jen.
Over 100 years ago, an unknown author wrote a fascinating children's book with the interesting title of The Chance World. It was about a make-believe world in which everything happened by chance. Think about it. The sun might come up in the morning, or maybe not. If a person jumped up in the air, they might come right back down, or they might just keep on going. At 32 degrees Fahrenheit, water might freeze, and then later in the day, it might boil. There was really no way of knowing what was going to happen beforehand. In this chance world, if a farmer planted a field of wheat, it might come up as wheat, or it might come up as tomatoes or pumpkins or poison ivy. But really, what if you couldn't rely on principles like gravity, light, electricity, or temperature? What happened yesterday or an hour ago would be no indication of what might happen tomorrow or even 5 minutes from now. Without the laws of nature, life would basically be chaos. Well, I'm happy to inform you that we don't live in such a chance world. We live in a world of order governed by laws. A farmer, to have a successful harvest, must work in harmony with these laws by having good seed, fertile soil, and sufficient moisture. If they violate these laws, they may expect failure. This is known as the law of the harvest, which states that you reap what you sow. If you sow generously, you reap generously. But if you sow sparingly, yep, you reap sparingly. It's a law that you can count on, just like you can rely that water will freeze at 32 degrees and boil at 212 degrees. The sun comes up in the morning, even if behind clouds, and what goes up must come down because of the forces of gravity. This law of the harvest, reaping what you sow, applies in virtually every area of life, be it exercise, finance, health, or relationships. I might point out that good intentions won't get you very far either. Some people try to fake it or take shortcuts. I saw a young man in his 30s on a TV reality show called Botched. He admitted to having 132 separate surgical procedures. His face lacked expression like a mask. Instead of regular exercise for a healthy body, he had implants put in his biceps, triceps, pectorals, calves, and buttocks. He looked like he had been working out for years, but the fake muscles were all for show. They weren't real. They were basically non-functional. It's no secret that many people in America live beyond their means, committing slow financial suicide with their credit cards. I just heard a report on the radio stating that 3/4 of the people of retirement age have less than $30,000 in savings. Not exactly what makes for a carefree, fun-filled golden years. It's a tough lesson learned too late that you rarely can harvest what you haven't sown. Similarly, lasting relationships don't just happen, and sowing a poor diet makes for a poor health harvest. The law of the harvest doesn't really lend itself to cramming the night before like we could for a quiz in school. Now let me finish with a statement attributed to the Nike company. Quit making excuses, putting it off, complaining about it, whining about it, crying about it, believing you can't, worrying if you can, waiting until you're older, skinnier, richer, braver, or all around better. Suck it up, hold on tight, say a prayer, and make a plan. Just do it. In other words, you want to have a great harvest? Get sowing. Now, if you'd like to see other awesome videos like this one, head on.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing. So this gentleman kind of just hit it to the point, talked about everything that I think pretty much all of us need to hear and understand about our business. So, and our lives, because all of us have been through a point in our lives and in our business saying, I can't because, or, giving all these reasons, which are actually excuses why we can't do what we want to do or achieve what we want to achieve. And he talks about the farmer that, for him to have a good harvest, he has to make sure he has good seeds and is willing to put the work in, the consistency, the watering, the nurturing of a farm in order, and it has to be consistent every single day, whether he's tired, he doesn't feel good, whatever, you just keep doing what you need to do so you can eventually reap those rewards. He talked about a gentleman that put in fake muscles just so he could be buff. Well, when you think about our business, there's it made me think of an action that we could do that could be fake, that's not really going to create a real strong organization. So one of the examples that came to mind is there's people that I'm not saying that this doesn't work if you follow through with building the relationship, but there's people that will boost their Facebook posts just to get a bunch of people to join, just a bunch of join from everywhere. They don't know them from Adam. 11 people join their team, 20 people join their team, but they know nothing about that person. And it either takes time, if you're willing to put it in and to really, really try to grow that relationship, but you're working on one side, because unless that other person wants to get to know you, it's very hard. And these people, it's okay, I sponsored 11 people, but they haven't done anything. And why is that? Because there's no relationship built. There's no reason for them to do anything, because when people join, they join you. They're not joining Scentsy per se. When they decide to actually join, they're joining you because they see somebody that they can want to work with. They want to be around that person. They like the way you work your business. There's many reasons. Maybe they just happen to be your best friend, so they like you as a person, so they join. But in some way, in the end, they're joining you. I just got a Facebook message. I'm just making sure that it's not because you guys can't hear me. And let me make sure that somebody's not messaging me.
I can hear you clear on Zoom.
Oh, okay, perfect. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that wasn't, I just looked at that up. Thank you so much for letting me know that. All right. So, let's start with the seeds. So in our business, what can we utilize as considered good seed that we're planting? So what are some actions that we could be doing that would be considered planting our seeds for our business? If anybody wants to unmute and just share your thoughts of what those things could be.
marketing material samples, business cards, drawing boxes, just getting around in your community.
Yes.
Those are
Yes, seeds, definitely samples, marketing material, making sure that people have your information. If you're trying to sponsor, what are some good tools other than that you can have on you to be planting those seeds?
well, I've not ever gone that route. So
Okay,
anybody
she's
else?
like, somebody else, please. Well, I'm glad you're on the call then. So you've got something to learn something new. Anybody have an idea?
Your little traveling desk container with join packets in it, hostess packets in it, things like that.
Yeah, okay. I was looking for hostess, host and join packets, but that's absolutely true. Having your mobile office in your car, and if you're not aware of what that is, that's basically like those little hanging caboodle things that you can have hanging files, and you just have everything. It's like if you were to move your office into your car, everything that you need to do to run your business. If you run into somebody that ends up wanting to host, you have a hostess packet ready to go. If you run into somebody that starts talking to you about joining because they see your car or you're in line and whatever, they say, I have a pin on right now, dream job available, and somebody asks me about it, I have a join packet in my bag with me on my person, as well as in my mobile office. So you're always ready to plant the seed. Now, what are, anybody else? Anybody have any other ideas that maybe we didn't mention? Any other thoughts? What can we, what are some things that we can share about our business, or how other ways we can share about our business to join or to host, or that, and I'm not trying to, it's not a trick question, guys. It's a very simple one. You guys use it every day. So we're actually, some people are using it right now to be on this meeting.
Technology?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. So Facebook, Instagram, marketing and showing fit photos, talking about the business opportunity, utilizing resources so we can connect with people. If you're not able to go out and actually see the world and talk to people, which right now we're kind of on a limitation of that, you can use social media to be sharing your business and planting those seeds. And you could do it very subtle if that's the way you go about it, by just talking about how much you love being home during the day because you don't work a 9 to 5, if that's your thing, or whatever that, or how Scentsy flexibility with finances or whatever. It doesn't have to be about join my team, on a leadership call today, I was just talking to people in our organization that are leaders about, we don't want it to be about join my team. It's about sharing the opportunity, getting them started with their journey, because we don't want it to be that ickiness, because if we plant the seed in a way that it's about us, then they're going to think that sponsoring is about them. And then that's when they feel icky. That's when they feel like they don't know enough. And it's just a domino effect in not a good way. But if we start out with talking about an opportunity for them, which that's what it is, it's for them, not for you. Because here's the thing, guys, 10 people can join your team, like I said, in 1 month, but if they don't do anything, it doesn't benefit you. So, and we want to make sure your new team members know that, because a lot of join thinking, oh, you just want me to join your team so you can make money. But it takes a while and a lot of work for you to be making money off of one individual. Okay. All right. So we've talked about, the seeds. Now I want to just read something that I got from the internet. Where did I put it? Oh, I put it in my, here it is. Okay. So it says, so the law of the harvest says that in life, we will reap what we sow, we will reap more than we sow, and we will reap later than we sow. Good choices like seeds ultimately bring forth good fruit as a reward. Bad choices like bad seed ultimately bring bad fruit as a consequence. And the work that you put in today may not turn out to make a difference in your business until possibly 30 to 60 to 90 days, sometimes longer. So that's why the people, and here's the thing, most people quit Scentsy in less time than it takes for them to actually see the results that they've put in. So if you are, or somebody you know, in your team or something that's new, and they're like, one thing I hear on a regular basis, and I'm just going to be real blunt with everybody, I hear this all the time, I've tried everything. And there is no possible way for anybody to try everything, because I've been in the business 9.5 years and I haven't tried everything. So it's, what are you willing to do? That's really what it boils down to. You may have tried everything that you're willing to do, and so, or that you're aware of that's available to you. So that's why the people that are on these calls all the time are growing, because they're getting more information, they're getting new ideas, and they're getting the support they need to remind them that we're in this together. And there's going to be times that you feel like you don't see any progress in your business. You're going to feel like, I've been working my butt off 10 hours a day sometimes, because you have like a big event coming or whatever, and you feel like, oh my gosh, I'm making less than minimum wage about the time that I'm putting in, but I don't see any results. Let me tell you how I understand that 100%, because when I joined, I literally slept 4 hours a day, you guys, for about 6 to 9 months. And because I was working constantly, I was either training, but if I did the training, I was immediately working on what I learned. And so a lot of people say, how is it possible that you made director in 4 months and never worried about your numbers or anything? Your business just kept growing. The reason why is because of the consistency. And so they say, when it says you reap what you sow, if Jess is putting in 20 hours of work for 9 months, how much reward do you think is going to be building, and momentum that's going to be building in that time? Now, granted, the average person doesn't have 20 work on their business, so give yourself a break. Like, know that that's not typical. So I did something that is not normally typical, but I was so starving for my business to work. Does that make sense? Most people join Scentsy and they have something to lean on. They're like, I have a job that pays my bills. This would be nice if I didn't have to go to that job. But nothing is making you hungry enough and starving enough to say, I'm going to lose a couple hours of sleep to get my business going, right? So you have to decide, why do I want this business to grow? What is it about my life that I'm missing, that I feel like I need something more of? And if you think about, I'd like Scentsy to be my full-time gig, why? And what are you willing to do? So that's a question you have to ask yourself. And then not only what are you willing to do, but what are you willing to do consistently? Because it's the consistency. Again, the farmer doesn't go and plant the seeds and water it that day and then never go back to water his seeds again, right? To get the harvest to bloom in the fall, right? He has to be consistent by watering it in the morning, in the afternoon, at night. And if for some reason he can't water it, he needs to make sure that somebody goes and waters those seeds, right? So last week I was sick, and bless her heart, Cindy Watson was able to take over and help me water my seeds, per se, because doing training is a part of my harvest. Because if you are educated and you have tools to grow your business, that directly reflects on me, right? Although that's not my reason for doing it. I really want you guys to grow. But the way the compensation plan works, if you're successful, I'm successful, right? So let me ask you, if you have a team, are you watering your seeds as well on a consistent basis by helping them grow? Because even if you've already planted the seed and they joined, there's another harvest that you have to help them commit to in order to receive those their own harvest, right? So, and then again, I always say two sides. You can offer potential growth and seed planting and helping them water, but if they're not willing to do the work themselves, like showing up to a team call and actually utilizing the work that they've received, the information that they've received, there's nothing we could do about it, right? So now that we kind of talked about the basics of what this call is tonight about, I want to ask if anybody has a specific event or result that has happened that you may have said, like at one point you got a result, but you thought about it and said, wow, if I didn't stick with this and didn't keep going, this result would have never happened, because there was a time in my business that I felt like nothing was going to happen with this specific situation. So for example, maybe they took forever to buy from you or to host that party or to finally join, that maybe you were watering that potential consultant for years, months, whatever. Does anybody have a situation that you'd like to share of that type of scenario? That you reaped your results by putting in the time and not quitting. Okay. Go ahead, Melissa. Thank you.
It's not like so one of the things that when I first joined, it was join or buy, host, join, right? We flipped it, join, host, buy. And I felt like when I first joined, I asked a lot of people to join my team and nobody joined for a long time. But I had known, like my sponsor, Michelle, had said, you got to keep asking. Don't, like, she trained me really well when I first joined not to let the lack of what I was seeing, because she talked a lot about planting seeds. And I feel like what we do in Scentsy sometimes takes a lot longer than what we would expect. And you're right, people quit before it even happens. And so if I had stopped asking, I wouldn't have reached, like my team right now is 22 people. And I think 13 of them I have sponsored. And I don't believe, like Rebecca, she's on the call now. Like I work with her. I saw her like every single work day. And for a long time, she was like a hard no. She was like not interested in buying, not interested in joining. And she eventually joined. And I think it's just from seeing like my passion and seeing like, after she tried the product, she's like, my friend can't really be an idiot. Like, let me try it. And once she saw that she liked her room sprays or whatever, and so I think you just can't give up. Like you can't see the seeds that are being planted. You can't see the roots that are growing underneath the soil. Like you have to wait, just keep doing it. And so for me, if I had stopped sponsoring when I thought, or if I had stopped asking about sponsoring when I thought I would, when I wanted to, then I wouldn't have grown a team and I wouldn't be where I am now. And like last month, I had done a couple of Facebook parties and I didn't think that was going to happen. And I had asked people and they had all said no. And I was just going to leave it at that. And then I asked them all again and 3 of them said yes. So it was like, and that surprised me, but it's just, sometimes it's not the right time. Sometimes it's not the right day. It's not the right circumstance. And so I don't know, you just got to be patient and just stick with it. And remember like what brings you passion, why you're doing it, and don't give up because it will happen eventually. Sometimes people watch us to see if we're going to quit. Like depending on their experience with direct sales, they want to see, well, Susie Q waited 2 years before she quit. I don't want to invest any time in this person if she's just going to quit. So they'll watch you for 2 years or however long that person's comfort zone was or whatever until and that's, it's just, you have to be consistent. Like you have to just stay and be consistent. Like just stay. Don't go anywhere. Right. Just stay.
Yeah. I love that. That is so, so true. And I try to share that with people that it's just a matter of time and you're going to get results, but the key is just to keep going because obviously you're not going to get a result if you quit. There's no results with quitting, but if you keep going and if for some reason you've been doing this for a long time, but you haven't got the results you've needed. You have to ask yourself, what actions have you been doing that maybe you need some tweaking that you're just not getting. Oh, that's awesome, Rebecca. So I actually want to share something that Melissa's sponsor, Michelle Brooks, put on her own page a couple weeks ago. And I shared it on our group page that if you didn't read it, it was just so brilliant. And she shared it with her team. So I just want to share this with you guys. It says, let me tell you a story. I planted 2 seeds at the same time. I gave them each water and sunlight and sat back to watch the magic happen. Within 2 days, one seed, at the same time, I gave them each water and sunlight and sat back to watch the magic happen. Okay, sorry, I'm reading the same thing again. Within 2 days, one seed started to sprout. It is still growing, and 3 weeks later has visible signs of thriving. The other, nothing. And then she put, yet. What am I doing wrong with the plant 1 that causes it not to grow? Could I give it more water or move it outside? I mean, plant 2 is doing so much better. It must be because it's outside in a bigger pot with more sunlight, right? Here's the thing. I can think there's something wrong with my seed planting ability, my seed, the size of the pot, the amount of the sunlight, the list goes on. Or I can recognize that some seeds take longer to sprout. They are different seeds. They're different seeds. Of course, they're going to grow at different times and perhaps not at all. You dig, pun intended. That was really cute. Plant 1 is daisy and plant 2 is a daisy and plant 2 is a sunflower. What if I plant one, what if plant 1 said, but I don't want to be a daisy? Look how awesome that sunflower is. I want to be a sunflower. Obviously, that is never going to happen. But one day, the daisy seed will eventually sprout and grow into a beautiful flower, and it will be worth the wait. She will sprout because she did everything right and took her own path to growth. She has succeeded. The cool part is that each plant will be beautiful and make people smile at their glory. And they will continue to thrive because they are passing along the one thing they can, their seed. Comparison, the thief of joy. We're all on our own path with our own seeds to plant, and over time they will bloom into something so beautiful that we get to stand back and say, yes, I did it. That's my legacy. So let me just, I'll show you, if you guys are visual people like me, I am. So just so you can see, this was the picture of her. This is plant number 1, and or whatever, the one that's sprouting is this one, and this one's that has nothing for now. So when she posted that, she was actually talking about the comparison game. Okay, that was actually why she talked about it. But I also loved that in that explanation to get to the comparison game, she also really pointed out very specifically how it doesn't necessarily mean that one is being watered wrong or not enough. It just means they have different paces. And like Melissa just pointed out so brilliantly, that everybody has their own comfort zone and even season. And it may not be their season right now to be interested in the join opportunity or the host opportunity. But what we're here for is to be there when it is. Because I can't tell you how many people I've asked for years. 4 of them actually are on that just joined last month, are literally people that I've been talking to for years. And their season is now for whatever reason. They all had different reasons why they finally were like, okay, let's do this. So I want you guys to know that when you're planting seeds, to not get discouraged, because as long as you're doing your part and you're being consistent with what you do, those people are going to come around. One of them that joined last month, Erin, she never hosted a party before, but that was my fault because I never actually asked her. to host a party, because she was a guest that always would buy from my other host that would host every season. That's how I met her. And it was my bad by not saying, hey, do you want to do your own party? And this was a very rare situation that the first time I asked her to host, she said yes. And it was, but I had talked to her about joining though, several times in the last couple of years of her buying products. And she's told me no several times, that it just wasn't for her, that she's already in sales. She already knows the sales game, just not what she's interested in. But now she's like loving her business and doing amazing. So if I would have took the no to not join as a no, she's never going to say yes to hosting. I said, well, she said no to joining, but I've never asked her to host. So maybe I should ask her to host. But again, use me as an example that maybe she would have been on the Scentsy journey a lot longer if I would have asked her to host it when she told me that joining wasn't her thing right now, right? I could beat myself up all day about it, or I could say, well, that was the right thing to do. So I want to apologize really fast, you guys. I'm having some issues getting my words out lately. I don't know what's wrong. I'm hoping it's not like a neurological issue or something, but I feel like I'm kind of stumbling on my words. So I apologize. See, it's coming out right now. Like I've been starting to kind of stutter. I don't know why, but I apologize. My husband says it's because I try to talk faster than my brain talks faster than my mouth comes out. But anyway, okay, so, oh, thank you. Let's see. So I want to open it up for anybody else, because I kind of cut you guys off. Was there anybody else that wants to share an example of, if I didn't stick it out and stay a consultant for this much time and keep asking or whatever, this person wouldn't have sprouted in a way, meaning sprouted as a customer, sprouted as a hostess, or a consultant? Anybody else have any other examples they'd like to share? Nobody? Everybody's still in the watering stage of your customers and hostesses, and consultants. Cindy, I think you have somebody. You've got somebody that you've been talking to for a long time and then finally joined. I'm going to call you out because I know for sure you.
Yeah. Actually, I have actually a couple of them. My sister-in-law in Springfield, Missouri. I talked to her about it several times, and we were up there, I think 2 Octobers ago, and we were up there visiting. We were in Branson. She's like, my brother-in-law goes, yeah, you should do that. And I always carried with me an extra scents, order forms and stuff whenever I go up there, just in case. So I'm like, oh, perfect, here, you can have this. But it took 2 years of talking about it and everything. I also have a friend of mine that I work with. Her name's Michelle. She hasn't said yes yet, but she hasn't said no. She said, just keep asking.
Isn't she say, I was going to say, yeah, she told her just to keep asking.
Yeah, keep asking.
So
yeah.
That's amazing, and a lot of people are like, and I was just talking to somebody. I'm actually going to go deliver some bars to her after this call, and I've asked her several times, and just this last call, I was like, are you sure it's the fall season? You're ordering a lot, and she said, I'm still not ready, but keep asking. Yeah. So everybody's personality is different. And that means that they're not scared of the direct sales idea if they say keep asking, because a lot of people just get nervous about, they don't have enough information, and they have the preconceived of what they've seen other people get involved with. And they get like a bad taste in their mouth about direct sales, or, oh, this person's tried everything and they quit all the time. So they think that either direct sales doesn't do anything, or, it's just not good, not something good to get into or whatever. And, but you'll find that once you understand the purposes of direct sales, the benefits, it's so much easier for the person to be actually want to learn about their business. And what holds them back is they're not bought into the direct sales idea, meaning that there's actually the ability to make money in this business. That's why most people don't really put their heart and soul into it, is because they don't believe yet. So that's a big factor. When you think about it, a farmer doesn't go and buy a farm or land because he thinks that he'll never have the opportunity to grow any fruit or vegetables or wheat or whatever, so he can eventually make his money back for that land and make money, right, by selling. So we have to believe from the get-go that the work you're going to put in actually is going to pay off.
Yeah.
So is there anybody that is struggling with, hi Susan, with the belief of what's possible? That maybe you're feel like maybe now that I said that, maybe somebody had an aha of like, well, maybe that's where I'm at, that I'm not really quite sold on the idea that this is something that can actually turn into, you know, more than just my here and there sales or whatever. Is there anybody not 100% bought into that idea? And if so, let's talk about why. Because it's probably lack of information. Let me see if anybody on the Facebook page commented at all. So while I'm getting on the page to see if anybody said anything, I talk about the movie and the book, The Secret, a lot. And let's see here. Hi, Roseanne. Okay, so I don't see any questions, but The Secret talks about you have to be able to see, believe and see it before it actually can become true, right? Like it come to fruition. Because until you can see that it's possible, they're going to be able to actually put work towards it, because it's your brain is telling you that there's nothing that you could do impossible. So you actually have to visualize yourself and the situation actually happening. That's why like the Thursday Night Thrive last week talked about writing a paycheck and actually writing it and believing that that's a paycheck that is possible. Because if we don't believe that, then you're not going to put the work in. And even though you know all the steps, you're like, I know I need to recruit to make the best bang for my buck out of, that really make any money out of this business that's significant. But if you don't believe that people want to join, then you're not going to ask people, right? And then if you're not going to ask people or share the opportunity with them, that I'd like to say, instead of asking them, or the verbiage, again, this is something, some of you are leaders, you're going to hear it twice, but I talked about on a leadership call about using join my team. The word my is about you. So when you think about it, people don't want to know what is going to help you. They want to know what's in it for them. So when we deliver an opportunity, it has to be about them, meaning, how can Scentsy add value to you? And where do you need value added in your life? And by building a relationship, and that's one thing I talked about as well, is that, or when I talk to you guys about, like, again, boosting Facebook posts, I'm not saying they're not beneficial, but there's a lot of fun, work that has to go with that, because you have to build a relationship from scratch, you don't know who the heck this person is. If you're willing to do it, there's people out there that are doing it, but it's a lot of work, okay? But basically, you have to think about this business as a relationship building business, okay? And if it's not about you, then you have to be okay with, you're not going to get the result in the time that you would like it, right? Everybody wants it now. I want $1 million check now, not, 10 years from now, right? But again, if you are leading with a generous heart, which is generosity is one of our core values, you're trying to figure out what's best for that person. And them not joining today may be what's best for them today. Okay. So, and you have to be okay with it may be a couple of years until it's what they need in their life, or it may never be. But the idea is making sure they know what's available. And I know we've talked about this before, but it's also something that all of us struggle with. I'm even going to tell you this. I know this, I teach this, but I'm still human. So I still fall short sometimes I don't make sure every single person, every time I talk to them, knowing about the join host buy opportunity, right? Again, sometimes we get lazy. We just want to close this party and we just want to place the order. But when I talked about the job description, if you guys were on the Saturday call a few weeks ago, I talked about we all have a job description. We have a job description to make sure that they know that they can join, host, join the Scentsy Club, or buy. And so unless you've done all 4 of those things and shared that with them, you haven't done your job, and neither have I. So, but that's actually a good thing, because if you can recognize that, I bet you all, if you all pulled up your client list, your top 100 or whatever that you've dealt with, you could probably, if you're honest with yourself, probably highlight the people that you've actually talked to about all 4 options. And you're going to be left with a lot of people that don't know about the Scentsy Club, that don't know about hosting, and probably even more that don't know about the opportunity. Okay. And so that's why, just like calling somebody up that's been buying from you for XYZ amount of time, when you call them up to have a conversation that's different about hosting for them, that's another form of watering your harvest, your farm or whatever, your seeds, because you're nourishing it, you're adding love and value to that specific seed, that person, whether they, I mean, yes, there's those people out there that it's like pulling teeth just to place an order, right? You may think that they darn well aren't going to host a party, or darn well aren't going to join the Scentsy family, right? But that's not only that may not be true, because they may not be placing an order because they don't have the money to, right? So we have to find out what it is. We have to get down to the bottom, get down and dirty, and find out what is stopping them from moving forward with what they talked to you about. If they said, oh my gosh, I love that whatever, item, but for just not placing an order there, every time you follow up, they're like, not right now, blah, blah, blah. Let's have a conversation with that person and say, I've noticed that you are interested in that product. I know you are, but for some reason, you've hesitated to join. To purchase. Is there any information that I need to share with you that is going to help you place that order? Usually they're going to, when you have that conversation, they're going to go, no, Jess, it's not that I love the warmer. I really want, I just don't have any money right now. I've lost some income. My husband just lost his job. Now I have information, more tools to work with, right? Now, oh my gosh, I totally understand that. Well, you may think about getting started with a business, because the products that you purchase, you're not only going to get, but you're going to get them for free and half off, and you're also going to get commission off of those products. And then I could darn well pretty much bet that people that buy Scentsy already, that you could be a commission off to help you supplement some of that income lost. Well, I don't even have the money for the kit. Well, yes, I totally get that. So we have a hosting opportunity that you can actually earn your kit for free. So let's talk about the people that we could be getting together for you to get a party together. So do you see the delivery that I'm giving? I'm not, well, do you want a party? I'm not tiptoeing in. I'm coming in with confidence of, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to help you. Right? I'm not saying that Jess is always confident with every conversation she has. Believe me, there are some conversations that I fall short, but I can recognize when I fall short, and I can go back and continue to water that seed, right? So it's I'd be lying if I told you guys that every phone call I have or communication I have with my clients or hostesses or future potential consultants, that everything is, bam, bam, bam. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had these 4 people joining years later, right? It's, it's either a fall short on my side of information, or they just weren't ready. So, right now in the fall season, And this is like usually when things are starting to like things are kind of easy right now, guys. People are starting to buy just because they want their house to smell good. They're going to start having holiday gatherings at their house. They're going to start buying Christmas gifts, things like that. So now is the time to get started, as well as to literally shift your mindset of, I'm relaunching my business. Because now you could be nurturing all those seeds and watering all those seeds. So in the spring, when things are normally a little bit slower, we know that this past spring wasn't, which is a good thing. We hope it keeps going like that, that you actually have time to nurture them, by meaning when they get started, you have time to actually train them, right? And have one-on-one coaching calls with them. As the fall season gets busier and busier, I will tell you, I don't do as many coaching calls because I'm so busy with my own business that I have to keep up. It's very rare that I lower my availability, because I'm only going to work with people that are serious about growing to the next level. Not people that just want to sit around and talk to me and tell me about their family, which I love, but I don't have time for that. If that's going to be a phone call, then that's going to be a different phone call, not a scheduled in the slot that is for my business partners, right? So I want you guys to realize that if you don't have a schedule for your team members right now, or schedule of when you're going to have these conversations with your clients. So I'm going to ask you guys, do you have in your calendar time every week sat down to say, I'm going to be having these, I'm going to speak to 5 people about hosting. I'm going to speak to 5 people about the business opportunity. Very intentional time slots, that this is what your brain is focused on for this time. And you turn off your phone, you turn off social media, and you get on the phone instead of turning off so it'll interrupt you, and start calling people. One last thing, because we're at the top of the hour now. So I hope I gave you a lot of to think about, is oh gosh, and maybe there is something wrong with my brain because I've been stuttering and I keep losing my train of thought. I apologize. Does anybody have anything to comment on before? So maybe hopefully it'll pop up in my brain again, what I was just going to say, my last one. Low thyroid? I don't know. I've had my thyroid checked, but not like recently, but maybe I should again. I will look into that, Melissa. Thank you. Oh, okay. So what I was going to say is that if you're not plugging in a schedule of when you're going to do stuff, it's very likely days are going to go by, right? I'm going to tell you right now, when I wasn't making intentional this is actually what I was going to say, is phone calls, connecting verbally. I know we're in the social media world and we're in the text messaging world, but I'm going to tell you, I've never sponsored somebody by a text. And if I have, they didn't go anywhere, because people need to hear your tone. They need to hear that you care, your voice. They need to hear your excitement. They need to hear that you are concerned that they lost their job, right? Have an actual face-to-face if possible. So when I schedule, now that we have Zoom, we've had it for a couple of years now, I always go for the Zoom first if I'm not going to be in front of them, because I want them to see me. I want them to connect and create a relationship with me. So when they think about Scentsy, they think about me. They see my face, they hear my voice. If they don't want the Zoom, the next thing is they're going to be on the phone with me, because there's no way to know what the tone is of your text message. You might say something that is very, very kind and endearing, but your punctuation didn't make them think that, or, and that's why when you do texting, utilize those emojis, guys, because if you don't have a smiley face next to it, somebody might go like, well, what does she mean by that? You know what I mean? Is she mad at me? Is she? And so when you're on the phone, you're not leaving any questions. And here's the thing, even if you get a voicemail, that is more information and more ways to connect than if you send them a text. So always go for the voicemail first. And if you don't connect with them, you can always go back and say, hey, lady, I left you a voicemail, and communicate that way. But you want them to hear that smiling face. And I don't know if you've ever heard about this, but people know if you're smiling on the phone. So if before you pick up the phone, you want to, if you just got done yelling at your husband because he didn't put his toilet down or whatever, you know what I mean? You're mad or whatever, give yourself a breath and a time or whatever just happened in your life, and just do whatever you need to do to wash off and make yourself laugh. Watch a funny commercial or put on YouTube and watch some cartoons, whatever makes you laugh. And when you're in the mindset of I'm happy, I'm excited, I'm confident, that's when you pick up the phone. And then when you leave that voicemail, if you don't get to them, they're going to hear your smile, right? So you guys will be able, because you guys can't see my mouth right now. So you're going to be able to hear the tone. So right now, do you guys think I'm smiling? By the way I'm talking? Do you guys think I'm smiling now? Just by the sound, right? There's a tone that if they don't see you, they hear. So if you're like, hey, Melissa, it's Jess. Oh my gosh, you are so hard to get a hold of. I'm just as busy as you. I promise we're going to connect somehow. But tag you're it, girl. I'm gonna give you a text, just to shoot you a text to make sure you got this. And I can't wait to get a hold of you. Or, hi, this is Jess. I'm sorry to get a hold of you. Give me a call back when you get back. All right. Does that sound like attractive? Like, ooh, I better get on the phone and call her back. That's not exciting. It's kind of like, my dog just died, and it's, again, they're joining you. So you're literally, I used to say this a lot, and I just realized I haven't said this in a while, and it's very true. If you're building an organization, you guys, you're on stage. You're literally on stage. They are picking you apart. Why should I join you? What is it about what you're doing is so great? Because I got all this stuff that's not great in my life. And if it's something else that's not going to be great, then I don't want anything to do with it. It's just more time to me. But if you're able to portray that it's fun, it's happy, it's adding value to me, and it's going to do the same for you, then they're going to be willing to listen, right? We're walking billboards. Yes, Susan, exactly. So I used to say this when I first started Scentsy 9.5 years ago. I lived on a tiny little Air Force base, and everybody knew each other. And so when I had team meetings, I had to tell them, because I saw one of my team members at the commissary, which is like a grocery store on base, yelling at her kids, going in, get in the car, you're grounded, roar. And I'm like, oh, and she has her big on. I was like, ah. So I had to have a team meeting about it. It was like, guys, if you gotta yell at your kids, wait till you get in the car. Because if I was somebody watching that and I wanted Scentsy, because I saw the Scentsy shirt or the Scentsy car, if she was screaming, I'd be like, whoa, okay, she's having a bad day. I wanted a catalog, but not today. And you just lost a possible sale, host, or consultant, right? Because what's the percentage that you're gonna run into them again? Maybe probably higher with the small, tiny little Air Force base that I was on, which was really vital. So it doesn't look good for them. But even and on our situation that you're probably gonna have a less likely to run in, you're losing an opportunity by being in a bad mood and screaming at the world, right? So you have to know that people are watching. You're always on stage. Now, I'm not saying be ingenuine. I mean, like I said, if you got to yell at your kids, great, but just get them in the car and then yell or do whatever you got to do. But just remember, if you're struggling, and then one last thought, and this will be the it. And most of you that are on live know this, but some of you that are watching recorded or whatever, I don't know if you know this. Your Facebook page is also your marketing platform. So if you're airing out your dirty laundry on Facebook about how you hate this person, or you're very controversial with this situation, you know, you can have an opinion with politics and all that stuff, but know that if you're going to be blasting that private information out, and my husband and I just got in a fight, I can't stand, I kicked him out, blah, 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 whatever. You know, my kids, I can't stand my kids or whatever, I need vacation. Negativity is contagious as well. And do you think that they're going to want to join your team? No. And then here's the thing, because it's contagious, you may end up sponsoring somebody, but you're sponsoring a negative person that is feeding off of negativity. So even if you one day throw out a dirty laundry, you know, post on Facebook about in a negative way, you're going to attract what you give out, and you're going to be dealing with other negative people. Now, we all have bad days. We all have dirty laundry days, but there's a difference between laying it out to the world and dealing with it personally. And so that's why a lot of people say that social media is not real, because you generally put out what's good on Facebook. But when you think about it, why do I want to pass on something negative? Why do I want to pass on a bad day, right? So when like a bad day was me being sick, but you know, it was all covered with, I love the soup, my husband took care of me, and I get to lay in bed and work while I'm laying in bed. But if I was like, oh, this sucks being sick, you know, that is like negative, right? So really think about the words you give that you post on Facebook. And again, also really think about how you're communicating with your people. What kind of mood are you in? If you're not in the mood to be happy and excited, then maybe that phone call should wait a couple hours or a day or so, right? Because that is going to cost you more if you in a negative way to if you do the phone call right then when you're in a negative mindset, than if you just wait a day or so and get that order a day or so later, or book that party, or have that conversation about getting them started. So I hope that this gives you guys a lot to think about, and I hope it gets you excited that, you know, as long as you're in it and you're not going anywhere, everything you're doing, you are eventually going to see a result. The idea is that most people do quit right before they're going to see an explosion. And so if you're feeling like you're just a gerbil running around and nothing's happening, you're not seeing any results, just keep running, keep going, because eventually you're going to have an explosion and be like, whoa, where did all this happen? Now I have too many parties. I have too many people joining. I don't know what to do. And that's a good problem to have. And that's when you reach out to your upline and say, okay, I need some help to figure out how to handle all this, right? But just keep swimming like Dory. All right. Any last thoughts do you want to add, or questions or comments before we wrap it up? Nope. All right, my friends, love you all. Have a great day. Remember that tomorrow, Tuesdays, all consultant call, register in your workstation. If you're on live, you get a chance to win some free stuff. And then Thursday Thrive is Thursday night at, I believe does anybody know the time? 5 or 5:30 or something. But I'll post it, and it's at 5 Pacific. If you're not Pacific, figure out what your time zone is. And then the Super Saturday call is at 9 a.m. Pacific on Saturday. So hopefully we'll see you or hear you on one of those calls. Thank you, all of you that were on live, as well as those that watch this in the recording. If you have any questions, just go ahead and respond to the email, and we can set up a time, or I can chat with you on email. All right, guys, have a great night. Bye.